Grace and peace, family. Grace and peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. My Ad Hotep. Namaste. Free the land, beloved. Come on in, come on in, come on in. My name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm a very proud contributor right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, the network for melanated women just like you. Welcome, 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 welcome to the show. So pleased that you are with us today. Want to give a big shout out also to my Instagram family because I'm live right now. I want to say Instagram, come on over to FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Instagram, come on over now to FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Family, we have much to discuss today. And we're going to get to it pretty quickly. And just a little bit of housekeeping, because we're going to be talking about this young lady, young girl. What am I talking about? Young lady, this child, this 16-year-old child, screaming, crying, sobbing, terrified, horrified by Florida police. And we're going to talk about the problems that took place during this 6-year-old's incarceration. Just before we do that, just a little bit of housekeeping, family. As you come in, please come in giving us a thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. Also, make sure that you hit that notification bell to help us draw other folk into our podcast. This story is so important that it gets out and that everybody knows about it. Are y'all hearing me today? Also, family, I want you to make sure that you check on our store. Check out our store at shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. You can get all kinds of apparel there. And also flynubianbusiness.com. Flynubianbusiness.com. That is a school where it's qualified, Black, intelligent teachers that can help you get your business off the ground. Thank you so very much for your time on that. Also, don't forget to text the word Queens to 31996 so that you're able to receive phone notifications when we go live from time to time. Let's get ready to get into this today, family. It's so important. I don't know how many of you all may or may not have heard about this story of this 6-year-old girl who was screaming at the top of her lungs when they took her away from her school and arrested her. I'm discussing this, obviously, after hearing about it, learning about it. But family, this is a pattern. This is a pattern. And we've seen this one too many times. And the importance of discussing it is this. Let me give you just let me just say this real quick. Shout out to you, Derek, for your gift. Miss Vicky, your powerful voice inspires me. Love you, Queen. Love you back. May your gift be returned back to you 1,000-fold. This should concern everybody. This should concern everybody. And I want to talk about this story today because I know that this is some of your stories. Some of you are in my inbox. Some of you make comments on some of my social media platforms talking about things that you and your children are going through. And too often I'm not able to respond to everything because there are millions of us and some of us have similar elements to our stories. So just know, to the best of my ability, let this story be your story. And from what we talk about today, see what you can do about it. Shout out to you, Silent D Productions, for your gift. And you're absolutely right, beloved, with your comments there. So it's so important that you understand this. And let me just do this because I want you to watch this audio, video. Of course, this was all over social media. But I still like to cross my T's and dot my I's. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Now, let's get ready to get into the subject today, the story today. This beautiful child, just a few years from infancy, she's 6 years of age, terrified and arrested. This story is so many of your stories, and this is the reason why I'm discussing it. For starters, as I get ready to cue this so that you can watch this video, what I want you to keep in mind, and this is so important. Okay, I think this is it here. Yep, this is it here. When you see me discuss and point out on a regular basis Black collaborators in our oppression, this story should explain why. When we call out blackface white supremacists, it's not about you viewing it as so-and-so is, Vicky's going up against another sister, or we're calling out our own. Not in this particular situation. Not in this circumstance, it's not. We are at war. And I tell you that all the time. And the battlefield is these United States of America. The battlefield is on Wall Street. It's in your churches, in your mosques, in your place of worship. It's in the schools. It's in government. It's in all sorts of industries, all places of people activity. This is how serious this thing is. And it's happening right before our eyes. And so your mainstream media outlets points to Afghanistan as real war. They point to Iraq as real war. They point to other places around the world as war zones and legitimate war. But unfortunately, we have not acknowledged that what we're dealing with is true warfare. And we need to call it that, continue to call it that, and we need to continue to treat it as such. Because America gets away with this narrative that she's somehow this democratic, beacon on a hill that the rest of the world should parrot and be like. When she continues to wage war, when she continues to murder, when she continues to oppress, when she continues to terrify us. And while she terrifies us, y'all listen, while America terrifies us, we continue to enlist in her army to go fight on behalf of America across the waters, while we're getting the brakes beaten off of us here in America. I need somebody black to talk black to me. Thumbs up, family. We know some folks may or may not have received the notifications. Looks like I thought they had already gone out, but that's okay. At the right time, the right people will view this podcast. I won't be before you long at all today, but we've got to have this conversation and we've got to get this message out. The educational system with our Black babies is ground zero for this warfare. And I want you to take a look at this video, and I want you to watch it as close as possible, of this Orlando cop arresting this 16-year-old girl at school while she screams and cries to be let go.
Okay, she's going to have to come with us now.
Okay, Kai, you gotta go with them, baby girl.
Stand up. Okay, come over here.
those for?
It's for you.
Keep your hands, okay? Come over here, honey. It's not gonna hurt.
No,
Okay,
no,
right.
I want haircut. No, don't put haircut on. Please, help me, please, help me.
Let's go.
You're going to come pick you up, okay?
Oh, I was just like this fire.
Come on, let's go.
No, please let me go.
Okay, come on. You can tell me what happened on the car, okay?
I don't want to go to the police car.
You don't want to?
No, please.
You have to.
No, please. Give me a second chance.
You gotta go.
I don't want to use it. No. Please. 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 Please just let me go. No. No, help me.
Okay.
Please. No.
Give me a second.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Call me if you need something.
Did you all see that? Did you all see that? 6-year-old girl, not 16. Family, did you see the description that I put in the on the description thing? Not 16, 6-year-old girl. 6 years old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old child. Practically still an infant. Terrorized by a racist police force in Florida. This is America. I don't want to talk about right now nobody in nobody's cages, talking about illegals coming into the country. There are black cages, and I keep saying that there are black cages that nobody is putting enough urgency on. You've got Congress people going down to the border to fight on behalf of those that enter the country illegally, breaking federal law. But those who are alleged citizens of this country, foundational black Americans, descendants of American slaves, we don't treat with that same urgency. We don't give that type of priority. You don't see them as outraged with what's happening in Parchman, Mississippi, and other places. When we have these discussions, people are not typically as interested, including our own. And I know some of us are tired of seeing these images over and over and over again. And I don't show them every single day on my show. But all of my shows are interrelated to this. And this is terrible news, but it is also news that's going to move us. What do you mean, Vicki? We've known about this open enemy of ours for 465 years. We have been dealing with this enemy, with this new Jim Crow, with this prison industrial complex, with them that's stealing from us in terms of gentrification, in terms of redlining, in terms of gerrymandering, in terms of white supremacist micro and macro aggressions that we're experiencing every day of our lives. We've been dealing with this open enemy from Jim Crow, sharecropping, convict leasing, chattel slavery. We've been dealing with oppression for a very, 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 very long time. And Black folk continue to ignore the nature of our open enemy. Did you hear what I said? Too many of us continue to ignore the nature of our enemy. Instead of us looking at this thing and saying, after hundreds of years, you guys aren't going to change. Perhaps our goal should not be to continue to integrate and to try to be a part of all of your systems. Perhaps we ought to do what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that great founder of the Nation of Islam, nearly a century ago, when he warned Black America about the nature of our open enemy and how our open enemy would not change. He was exactly right. And it's been about 90 years, nearly a century, since that message was given to us. But we continue to plead and beg with an enemy who's shown us their stripes. And we continue to be cowardly in dealing with this enemy. And we use religion, you use your Jesus, you use your being godly to justify getting along with someone that's impossible to get along with, and who has proven over and over and over again that they mean you no good. They'll smile in your face. They'll leave you some crumbs. They'll use you up. They'll spit you out. They'll kick you in your face. They'll throw you under the bus. They'll reverse the bus, and they'll run over you again, and they'll reverse the bus again. And if you're on a bridge, they'll do everything they can to throw you over the bridge. So who's the fool? Is the problem just our open enemy, or is the problem also us? Somebody talk black to me. This story is important for this reason. I don't know if you all were able to see or hear very closely. The first voice I want you to hear is, listen again.
Okay, she's going to have to come with us now.
Okay, Kai, you gotta go with them, baby girl.
Stand up.
Did you hear that voice of a Black woman that says, okay, Kai, you've got to go with them, baby girl? Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that?
Okay, she's going to have to come with us now.
Okay, Kai, you gotta go with them, baby girl.
Stand up. Okay, come over here.
That Black lady who said, okay, Kaya, you've got to go with them, baby girl. I'm hearing they're following all kinds of policies. They've got all these different rules. It was the assistant principal that did this, made this call, all that. Let me tell you something. Anytime, if there were ever a time that the Black woman needed to be loud and appeared to be angry and irate and out of her mind, that was the moment. That was not the moment, my dear sister, to sound cool, calm, and collected.
Okay, she's going to have to come with us now.
Okay, Kai, you gotta go with them, baby girl.
Stand up.
Okay, Kaya, you got to go with them, baby girl. That's not the time, sis, for us to be cool, calm, and collected. That's the time to be loud and outraged. That's the time, sis, to get in your war mode when it comes down to your babies. I'm not blaming this sister in the entire circumstance on her. I'm trying to show us how we can assist in our own undoing. I'm pointing these things out in the hopes that we get the word out, that we become conscious of how we're being destroyed, and so that we can mitigate our participation in it, so that we can lessen, so we can decrease our participation in it.
Okay, come over here.
What are those for?
It's for you.
Your hands, okay? Come over here.
She said, what are those for?
It's not gonna hurt. her
No,
left
I
hand.
want handcuffs on.
She said, no, I don't want handcuffs on.
Don't put handcuffs on. Help me.
Help me. Help me.
Help me.
Help
Let's
me.
go.
Your grandma can come pick you up, okay?
Oh, I was here to school. I just saw you.
Come on, let's go.
No, please let me go.
Okay, come on. You can tell me what happened in the car, okay?
I don't want to go to the police car.
You don't want to?
No, please.
You have to.
No, please. Give me a second chance.
You gotta go.
She said, give me a second chance.
I don't want to do this. No.
My understanding is that it was a black man police officer whose body cam was recording it. The officer that was the one that was moving her around and the transporting officer clearly appears to be this Hispanic guy. Some reports I've heard said that he's a Hispanic immigrant. Let me tell you what I have so far, and let me read this to you. Family, as you come in, please come in giving us a thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. We want to draw other folk into this podcast. I want you to make sure that you like and that you share this. This is an important conversation, family. We want to do something about this, and we have solutions, and I'm going to tell you what they are in just a few minutes. This is not a long podcast, but it's an important one. These are our babies. This is about our today, our tomorrow, and our future. This is how we continue on in this realm. So if we're just nonchalant about this and we're not concerned, we're more concerned about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and all that madness, but this doesn't move us. This doesn't pique our interest. Houston, we have a problem. Denver, we have a problem. Jackson, we have a problem. Miami, we have a problem. New York, we have a problem. LA, we have a problem. Detroit, we have a problem. And we cannot expect our open enemy to solve it. The one that's oppressing you is not going to be the one to ultimately deliver you. Listen to this. I'm reading now from CNN's article on this, where it says the police body camera videos are disturbing. It talks about 6-year-old Kaya Rowe as she pleads with officers for a second chance. Of course, this is disgusting that this young child's name is out there like that. Her name is all throughout the video, obviously. But you'll see later on in the article why they claim they mentioned her name, obviously. But it's disturbing. Black babies are not treated as children. They're not given the treatment of being innocent and worthy of protection. Help me, she says between sobs as her hands are restrained with a zip tie. Traumatized, family. This is war. What you just saw was an act of war. Your mainstream white media outlet shows you bombs and missiles and drones and all that kind of stuff over in the Middle East. And they call it war. This is real war. They say that the longest war we've been engaged in is in Afghanistan. No, baby. The longest war America has been engaged in is the one against Black Americans for 465 years. I need somebody to talk Black to me. On the count of 3, for those of you that haven't, please give us the thumbs up and hit the notification bell. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, family. Take a quick moment, if you haven't, take a quick moment, family, and hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, share, and hit the notification bell. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. We're at war. I know this subject might be triggering for some of you, but it should be triggering in the sense of the solution that we're getting ready to operate in. Let it trigger you to do better, and I'm going to tell you how. Let it trigger you to remove your children, remove their minds, remove their bodies from the control of our open enemy in the most formidable years of their lives. This is why I call out butter biscuits. This is why I call out Black folk who collaborate with white supremacists. Don't get it twisted. This is about a white supremacist system that has conditioned and programmed us to participate. I'm calling it out so that you would recognize that this is what's happening, and so that you would cease and desist cooperating with your own destruction. I need somebody Black to talk Black to me. By the way, shout out to our sponsor for today's show, TWID, TWID. I'm wearing some of their apparel. They have apparel for the whole family. Check them out. Support them. Black-owned business at twidwear.com. It's still February, 30% off the entire store. Enter the code Vicky, VICKI, and let them know I sent you. Twidwear.com. The link will be in the chat in just a moment. Supporting Black businesses helps to remove us out of these kind of circumstances. Having Black schools helps to prevent this kind of stuff when Black folks truly control the school, not just work there. We understand each other's makeup, our nature, our temperament, and how we learn. Thumbs up, family. And hit that notification bell. Watch this. Watch this. The article goes on to say, help me, she says, between sobs, as her hands are restrained with a zip tie. You can tell me what happened in the car, okay? One officer responds as she begins to walk her outside, as he begins to walk her outside. I don't want to go to the police car, she says, while she wept. Please. Lord, have mercy. Let me go to the second part. Okay, hold on one second. Here we go. She says, please. This is what it says here. Please, she continued to sob as the officer put her in the back of his police SUV. Please let me go. CNN, it says, does not normally identify juveniles in such cases, but the family has spoken openly about her. The videos show one officer going back into the office and chatting with several office staff members. He told them that he had arrested 6,000 people in 28 years and that the little girl had broken the record because until that day, the youngest person he had arrested had been 7. 2 body camera videos of the incident were released to CNN Tuesday by the Smith and Ullo law firm. The attorneys representing the little girl, I don't want to say her name too much, but the arrest happened on September 19, 2019, following what had reportedly been a temper tantrum by her at the Lucius and Emma Nixon Academy. And Emma Nixon Academy. Did you all hear what I just said? After a temper tantrum. Adults don't have the wherewithal to know how to deal with a 6-year-old. You call the police. You see our open enemy as a solution to deal with your people. The article goes on to say the assistant principal I'm going to call her Kay. I'm just going to call her by the name Kay because I don't want to say her whole name. The assistant principal took Kay to the office. According to written statements made by the principal, the assistant principal and 2 school staff members in September 2019 and obtained by CNN, the incident began around 8:10 a.m. That's crazy. She was screaming and pulling on a classroom door because she wanted to wear her sunglasses. The assistant principal observed this and led Kay to the office while the child was kicking and screaming. So this is the assistant principal. Kay became aggressive, hitting me with her hands in the chest and stomach area, the assistant principal wrote in the statements. I restrained her by holding her forearms. Marilyn Kirkland, the child's grandmother, told CNN Kay had been acting out because she was experiencing the side effects from sleep apnea, that the school was aware of the issues, and that the family was working to get the issues resolved. children, Black children, not allowed to be innocent, not allowed to be children. And we help to throw them to the wolves because we fail to see who our open enemy really is. And that's the reason why Sister Vicky doesn't pull any punches when I talk to you about who your open enemies are, so that you will quit cooperating with them and putting your children in harm's way. Grandmother says she was suffering from sleep apnea, and the school was aware of it, but the school called the police. It goes on. The school resource officer tried to calm her, but Kay would not listen, said a staff member. He tried to get her to sit down, but she wouldn't, the principal's statement said. Portions of the principal's handwritten statement are harder to decipher. At one point, the officer asked administration, listen to this. At one point, the officer asked administrators to call Kay's family. After about 10 minutes, the principal was able to calm Kay down. The statement from the staff member read, the videos released to CNN by the family attorney started off with Kay Rowe, and again, I'm calling her by just the letter K because I don't want to say her name too much, calmly reading a book. Watch this. I'm going to read that again. The videos released to CNN by the family attorney start off with Kay calmly reading a book with the teacher in an office and do not show the temper tantrum described in the handwritten statements. Did you all hear that? While the police report says the assistant principal wanted to press charges and would testify in court, the statement the assistant principal gave to police at the time and obtained by CNN does not show an initial by the box. I will testify in court and prosecute criminally. They claim that they don't show the initial by the box by the principal, even though there's reports that the principal claimed that they would testify. But this is crazy. This is what warfare looks like. This is what it means to have shots fired. And the target is your Black babies. The targets are your children, are your babies. Thumbs up, family. I'm almost done. The article goes on to say that one of the officers has been terminated. The Orlando Police Department apologized to the family and terminated one of the two police officers in the video shortly after reviewing the incident in September of 2019. So one of the officers. The second officer in the videos was exonerated. That's in quotes. After an investigation revealed that he notified his supervisor multiple times about concerns with the arrest, but was never given instruction not to proceed with the prisoner transport. Listen to the language, with the prisoner transport, talking about a 16-year-old child, still practically an infant. Shout out to you, Yolanda Hill, for your gift. Thank you, Queen. I am soon 65, and I have told my daughter and granddaughters and grandson this. Thank you, beloved, for your kind words. Keep teaching your family. See, that's our job, to educate them, to let them know what's really going on. So one of the officers, it says, was repeatedly calling to talk about the issues with this arrest, according to this report. And that particular officer, it says, quote unquote, was exonerated, but the other one, according to the CNN report, was terminated. One of the two officers. And in a statement to CNN at the time, Orlando police said the arrest of any person under the age of 12 requires the approval of the watch commander, which was not obtained in this case. The statement went on to say that the 6-year-old was released from custody and returned to the school prior to being processed at the Juvenile Assessment Center. Y'all, this is even crazy. Crazier. It says that records remain confidential and exempt from disclosure as a public record. That's when one of the news outlets was trying to get the records independently from the Orlando Police Department. These statutes were written with the intent to protect juvenile subjects from unwanted disclosure of their information, according to a legal advisor. It goes on to say how the family wants to change Florida law, how Kay's family debated for almost a month about whether to release the body camera videos. The biggest worry, the law firm says, was that Kay would have to relive the nightmare given that she is still traumatized and in therapy. It's tough for her to go to school. Every time she sees an officer, she freaks out, a member of the law firm told CNN. But ultimately, the family decided to release the videos for at least 3 reasons. First, the family felt it was important for the public to see the severity of what actually happened. Second, the family would like the Orlando Police Department to acknowledge they dropped the ball when they decided to arrest a child. And finally, the family would like to draw attention to the case because they want to rally support for a bill going through the Florida legislature that would raise the arrest age to 12. Senate Bill 578 was introduced January 14th by a state senator. It says that the child still has nightmares. Kay's grandmother told CNN by phone that she's speaking out in support of the bill because she doesn't want another child to suffer the trauma of getting handcuffed. I'm really hurt because they stole her childhood from her. Kirkland says that for a week and a half following the arrest, Kay would not leave her side. And the first time she tried taking her to school, Kay had a meltdown inside the car as they drove up to the campus because she saw a uniformed officer on the grounds. Shout out to you, daughter of Oshun, for your gift. She says, in situations like this, de-escalate the situation by compromising with the child. Exactly. But here's the thing. I'm not here to judge the Black family right now. I don't know what the economics are. It sounds like the grandmother is doing a lot of stuff. And I don't know if the grandmother is the official guardian. This is the reason why she's doing most of the talking. How many of you all know that we just did a discussion about this, about another young Black child who had a physical ailment going on, and law enforcement was involved in her situation as well? How many of you all remember hearing the story about another young Black child who had a mental issue, I believe it was, and they took her away and put her in a mental institute, I think, for a couple of days? Shout out to you, Myra, for your gift. How many of you all remember when I did a podcast not too long ago talking about the beautiful young Black child who committed suicide because white boys, racism, because these young white boys was telling her to kill herself, calling her a black bee and other ugly names? See, while you are sending your Black children to white schools to be programmed by your open enemy and to be made a slave mentally, white folks are teaching their children, as we see with the case of the young Black child who killed herself. White kids are learning from their parents that you are the N-word and kill yourself, black bee. That's what they're learning at a young age. The Ku Klux Klan wasn't just the Ku Klux Klan. They also had a such thing as the Ku Klux Kitties, literally called the Ku Klux Kitties. So for 1,000 of you in the chat, welcome to the Vicky Show. I'm here Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're so pleased that you are with us today. Thumbs up, family. Be sure to like, be sure to share. Make sure that you text the word Queens to 31996. Also, another shout out to the sponsor of today's show. I'm wearing the apparel today from tweedwear.com, a Black apparel company for the whole family. Be sure to support them for the whole month. You get 30% off. Put in code Vicky. That's tweedwear.com. Listen. It appears to be the one that was the transport officer, the one that arrested the child, appears to be that Hispanic guy. It looks like he might be an Hispanic immigrant. Of course, many of them call themselves white Hispanics. They operate with white supremacy. Many of them do. And what you've got to understand, Black family, is that when you allow yourself to be an arm of white supremacy through law enforcement against your own people, don't you know that signals everybody else to come in and to mistreat us and to oppress us? When you're not conscious in your vocation, whatever it is that you do, and you're not conscious and you are unaware about white supremacy, you will be confused, as our elders have taught us, about everything else when you don't understand white supremacy. And you will cooperate with your own undoing. Don't you know when white folks see, quote unquote, other people of color being the ones involved in this arrest, they are relieved because you get to be the face of their agenda. And they don't get the blame because it looks like by your involvement, you legitimize that situation. Did you all hear what I just said? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was arrested. One of the times he was arrested, it had to do with the fact that they were starting their own schools, and he refused to allow the black children that was under his purview to go to these white schools. And they got him, one of the times he was arrested, my understanding, for violations of truancy. One of the things that he taught, and this stuff is good for all of us, is that if your enemy, if they won't treat you right, they will not teach you right. I'm going to say that again. He taught that if your open enemy won't treat you right, they will not teach you right. Did you all hear what I said? This story proves the necessity and the need for Black media, because we are calling out the manifold ways that white supremacy operates, how white supremacy operates. They oppress you, by you, and against you. They use you. And then other people groups come in feeling real comfortable, talking real greasy to us and about us. Shout out to you, Naya, for your gift. May your gift be returned back to you 1,000-fold. That's the reason why we're exposing this. That's the reason why we're talking about this. When I was just telling you a few minutes ago, reminding you I've done plenty of podcasts referring to this. And let me see if I can pull this up really quick. Yes, this is from history.com. The Ku Klux Kitties. This was the KKK's little known youth movement. Why am I bringing it up? I'm trying to show you how they are training their children in a very specific and particular way. And while many people would like to believe that we've come a long way and that the white supremacist youth, their children, are not like them, we're finding every day that to be a bone-faced lie, a bold-faced lie, right? And I'm referring to the Ku Klux Kitties because that had to do with practically a vow, a promise, a dedication, a very strategic and intentional way that they choose to rear their own. One of the things it says is that in 1924, a group of 10 children and hundreds of spectators gathered for a mass baptism. It says that this was no mere religious rite as the children and their parents moved toward the clergyman. They were enveloped by 50 men in white robes. They were the children of the Ku Klux Klan, and their baptism included more than a promise to God, along with their vows to raise religious children. Did y'all hear that? Along with their vows to raise religious children to the principles and ideals of Americanism. Listen to the language. They used certain code words that were actually words, white supremacist words, words that were specific and particular to the Ku Klux Klan, but they spoke in code. To an outsider, that promise might sound like a patriotic one, but to the KKK, it meant dedicating the children to a lifetime upholding segregation, bigotry, and the violent repression of anyone who was not a white Protestant. You see them and their babies? Do you all see that? Do you all see that? The children were christened that day were just a few of the thousands who participated in the KKK in its auxiliary organization. The Junior Ku Klux Klan for teenage boys, the Tri-K Club for teenage girls, and the Ku Klux Kitties and Cradle Clubs. Did y'all hear that? I'm going to tell you why I'm mentioning this in just a moment. For children and infants, that's the Cradle Clubs for children and infants beginning in the 1920s. As the invisible empire, that was another euphemism for their group. As the invisible empire of the KKK reached its pinnacle of the national influence and membership during that era, children took part in the society's rituals, and entire families dedicated themselves to promoting and sustaining the group's white supremacist ideology. In contrast to its original formation as a Southern terrorist organization during the years of Reconstruction, the KKK of the 20th century invited and encouraged the involvement of women and children as part of its attempt to create a core of true believers who would ensure the supposed purity of the white race. After the release of the film Birth of a Nation in 1915, the Ku Klux Klan movement was revived and grew to encompass 3 to 8 million Klansmen by the mid-1920s. Why am I reading to you about the KKK's different auxiliary organizations? Like the Junior Ku Klux Klan, the teenage boys, the Tri-K Club for teenage girls, and the Ku Klux Kitties and Cradle Clubs for children and infants. They were very intentional in how they were going to program their children. Did you all hear what I said? They are very intentional about how they're rearing their children, how they want to form their mind. As opposed to us, who just sends our black babies into the lion's den and say, I can't afford to educate my own child. I can't afford to send my child to a black school. And at the same time, some of the very ones that are claiming they can't afford to do that are the same ones that are disrespecting anybody that speaks about black economic empowerment so that you will have the necessary resources to do that. You all know for yourself that this is truly what they consider to be the school to prison pipeline. But more than this, more than that, this is war. And I'm going to point it out to you over and over again because white supremacy operates through black people oftentimes. But the sick part of this also was this Hispanic immigrant, very likely a white Hispanic in terms of how they identify, that participated with this with no problems, it seems. Policemen often have what's called discretion. They're supposed to allow their common sense to kick in before acting as an extension of the state, of the law. Because technically they're supposed to really embody the law, right? And they show no respect for your black children. And my point to you is, what do you expect of your open enemy? We're not going to continue to cry. And here's the thing. What did I just read you the last part of that article? It says that the grandmother took the child right back to the school. Family, that shouldn't be. There are so many programs, and this is a part of the solution I'm talking about, and I've been talking about for a long time. There are so many schools out there, and there are so many programs out there where you can homeschool your own child, and you don't even have to have a whole lot of training or education or certification because so much of it is done online. You can get the training that you need. You can even connect with other parents that homeschool their children, so there can really be no excuse in some of these cases. Are y'all hearing me today? And if you're not in that position to do it, How involved are you with the school? How involved are you with the PTA? Is your are the grandparents involved with the school and the PTA? Are your aunties and uncles, are the neighbors involved in looking after the child? Do you debrief your child to find out what's going on? Are you starting a side business or a side hustle so that you're able to have the necessary resources in order to ensure that your child does not have to be subjected to our open enemies? It's time for us as a Black family to bust a revolutionary move, a radical move. This is unacceptable. This is horrific. This is terrifying. And this must stop. Your open enemies are teaching their children in very specific and strategic ways. We should be taking possession of our greatest treasure, which is our own bodies, through our children. And it is up to us to teach them who the enemy really is, so that when your children are out and about in the world, and like that other young Black child that I did a show on not too long ago, where she killed herself because some racist classmates told her to, she would have known not to listen to them had her parents told her that they're the enemy, that they mean her no good. And just like you teach your children to beware of rabid animals and dogs and snakes, in like manner, your baby should be briefed about the nature of your open enemy so that you don't send them out in the world unprotected. That's what this short show is about today. I was horrified when I saw it, but the good news about this is, family, is that this is more reason for us to do for ourselves, to teach our own. And do you all know that some of the casualties that we have in this war against us, it would be less if we took more radical action? No more negotiating with your open enemy, talking about more training for the teachers, more training. No! Enough of that. Quit trying to revise and rehab your open enemy. We're not trying to integrate into madness anymore. We're building something for ourselves. We're building our own empires. We're being strategic and intentional in how we rear our children. And it's for them to rule. It's for them to dominate based on freedom, justice, and equality. And it's for them to secure their own future and to know who their open enemy is and to be prepared to defend against it. That's our job. Thank you so much for tuning into the Vicky Show today. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Share, 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 share. 1,100 plus of you. I'm so pleased that you joined us on this Wednesday evening. We know a lot of folks are in church and their religious places, and a lot of stuff are happening in the middle of the week, but we thank you for tuning in. We trust that at the right time, the right people will see this broadcast. And I want you to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Check out our store at shopfnq.com. That's shopfnq.com. Make sure that you also connect with us at flynubianbusiness.com. This is a part of the solutions we're talking about. You'll also learn about investing in all of these kinds of things. This is up to us, not our open enemy. This is disgusting. This is sad, but it should also be empowering that we can do something about it. My name is Vicky Dillard. Tomorrow, my show will be on at a different time because I have an appointment later on tomorrow afternoon. So make sure that you don't miss the show. I should be on probably around, I think maybe 2 p.m. Eastern. Yes, 2 p.m. Eastern, approximately. So don't miss the Vicky Show tomorrow. Like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Dillard. Follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Dillard. Dear family, I leave you in the manner in which I came, that is in peace. Again, this is so important that we discuss this. So important that you like and share it. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Ma'at hotep. Namaste or namaste. Free the land.